One of the craziest parts of the journey of doing what we do, especially for 10 years now, is always the financial side of things. It's so wild to watch how the Lord shows up in finances, and just the way he so meticulously like writes the story. It's like we need $1,000 for this, or we need whatever for this, and just how it's always the wildest way. Sometimes it's by our bold ask, and sometimes it's just by this divine storyline. And I think so often what people don't think about in the life of the missionary is like, how do they pay their bills? Like, because we don't get a salary, and so it's just so wild. And as we've spent this last, just last week or two reflecting on his faithfulness, I just have been thinking through all of these stories on like how he provided for the rent, how he provided for the car, whatever it might be. And it's just been a wild ride to do it as a family, even down to like, how are we going to pay for Nehemiah's basketball league? How are we going to pay for Nehemiah's school? How does Nehemiah have new clothes on? How does he, and just being able to communicate to our kids that everything they have is a miracle from the Lord. And it's just been crazy.
Yeah, I think back even as an example to that season when the Lord called us to New York and we were picking up our entire family and moving there in obedience, not knowing what it was going to look like, but it came at a cost. It came with having to sell our family SUV and going to New York in our small little red car. And little did we know we would only be there for 15 months and then the Lord would call us back to Kansas City. But that wound us up in being in a crunch a lot of times with one car as a family of four.
Yeah.
And I found myself...
No, one little Ford Focus as a family of four.
Right. And I found myself really questioning
Yeah.
the Lord, like, where are you? Like, you told me that you would show up and you're not showing up. And it hit this emotional place for me. And just over time, we just kind of were like, okay, like we're going to keep believing. We're going to keep believing. And just recently, 2 months ago, a family we don't even know out in Iowa, here's our story. Here's about who we are and what we do, and says, we want to bless you with an SUV. We want to give you the car that we have. And so it just is like a real testimony that the Lord has used finances as a vehicle to be the reminder of what we're doing, and just like his stamp of approval, he continues to show up in those ways.
Yeah, and it's obviously always through people like you that feel called, led, generous, whatever, however you want to word it. And, as we approach this end of the year, we're taking this end of the year season to be really serious about finances and being bold to ask. We have a very large specific need for our family. We're believing for $25,000 just from the transition from New York back to here, a couple years of just compiled ministry expenses, unexpected things that we weren't prepared for. And it's got us in a place where our specific need for our ministry right now in our family is 25 grand. And we're just asking you to consider sowing in a just end of the year gift into our family. That would help us just wipe out all remaining bills and debts that need to be paid so that we can move into 2020 with clear vision without any hindrance of finances. And so we just say thank you for all the times you've given, all the times you've supported us. You're sowing into good soil. The Lord is doing so much through us and through the prayer movement. And we just know without a doubt that we're called to this thing. So we say thank you in advance. And we just are so honored to have you on our team.
Bless you.